Hello, Waylighting Sagittarius. It's nice to see you. Hey, I thought that we would get a check-in. This is for the very end of July and the beginning of August, but if this has found you at a different time, then it's the right time for you. Either way, there's a message here for you, something big or small. And if something resonates, please remember to like and subscribe so others can find the channel too. All right, so your ninth house is lit right now. So your ninth house is the house of long distance travel and education and higher level philosophies like how do things work? What's the truth? What's the meaning of truth? And how do we arrive at it? Those are things that you naturally reside over. And with Jupiter having moved into Leo right now in your ninth house, those are lit for you. So this is not just a comfort level, but you may be feeling revitalized. You may be feeling like, yeah, you're starting to rethink a lot of things, and that can take a lot of effort. But there's something that feels good about that. There's something that feels like that you are discovering the truth underneath a lot of the surface agitation that you may have in everyday life. Let's take a look and see what it is that source wanted to bring through. And I am using a deck by my friend, given to me by my friend Barb, who is a wonderful Sagittarius. So, oh, wow. Okay, so I guess it was already almost done. So we have right now a time of waiting that you are in, and it's probably been a bit frustrating for you. Now, Mercury retrograde has been going on, and that is the sign of communication and travel, which we were just talking about. So you may have experienced glitches in that. There may be something in particular that is important to you that you've been waiting on. So she's just hanging out here, but she's also got this beautiful sky and the water there. And so she can just enjoy if she can lean into that moment. And that is what you're being invited to do, is to accept this pause and go swimming with the fish, and they will bring her the knowledge and sustain her as is needed. And I didn't mean that she was going to eat them necessarily. I just meant that they were there with her. She's part of the ecosystem, let's just say. All right, so relax into it, and know that this time of waiting, it's okay. Nothing is going to be taken from you because of it, but you may need to ask for help. So it might be that if you have been waiting for a decision, for example, from someone, that it may not come through the way that you want. And you may have to kind of bump someone and say, hey, I'm just checking in on this. And you may have to bring someone else in and say, hey, I need help settling this. And don't be afraid to do that. All right, Source. So in this conversation, this situation that Sagittarius has, and you've said ask for help, what is the nature of that? All right, so we have a lot of big cards going on here, a couple of major arcana. We have the Queen of Swords, the Star card, the Two of Coins, the Five of Coins, the Hierophant, and the Emperor. So let me just say, wow, this is not something that is small. First of all, and you know what? This isn't the Queen of Swords. This is Justice, because in this, she has her scales here, so forgive me. But this is Justice. Wow. So this thing that you've been waiting for is something that is formal. There's some type of formal action. It could have to do with money. It could have to do with health. It could have to do with some type of legal matter. In some way, you are waiting, and you are bringing in something that is a better future. So this acceptance that you have is apparently part of the process. There's some type of formal process that's going on in there. I'm seeing like a big machine with like the cogs that work to wind each other. I wonder how many people still know that one in the age of computers. But there's just like grist for the mill here, okay? And this is for something that is really longed for and wished for. This is a long time coming. It is something that will improve things for you, and that has that kind of collective importance that we talked about, that Pluto is insisting on, is saying, like, okay, be an individual, but this needs to also be in harness for the collective. It's about a choice. So Two of Coins here, you have juggling and saying to yourself, like, is it this or is it that? Is it going to go this way or is it going to go that way? You're waiting to see what the decision is going to be. You've given your input, and now you are waiting to see. As you wait, you are feeling a bit left out in the cold. And in fact, this may be This may be the juggernaut. This may be the part of the thing that set this justice cycle off, is that you or someone is is feeling left out in the cold. Remember that there is sanctuary behind these folks, okay? There's a portal that you have to walk through to get to the sanctuary of the church, but the church windows are glowing there. And guess what? Not only are they glowing there, but the Hierophant, the spiritual leader, is in the church, is in waiting to give sanctuary. But he's a bit of a curmudgeon. He is an ultimate ruler. And in fact, I'm just going to say these two together almost remind us of a pope. That there is a formal religious leader that is also an emperor. And the only person I know like that would be the Pope, but it could be that it is on a different scale, and it could be, for example, a pastor. It could be any type of religious leader. It could be, I guess, a rabbi. These are very Christian-oriented images and cards. The tarot kind of does that anyway, but we really should interpret that much more broadly. But in some way, someone has been left out. And in fact, what comes to mind, honestly, is I just did that podcast with someone on church deconstruction. And that is exactly what I'm seeing here, is that there is someone who feels like they are left out in the cold, maybe after leaving the church, and the only choice that they're feeling right now is to turn around and go back into the church. And so they're wondering, what is the decision that I make? How is it that I bring about healing? And what is the justice in this? So, gosh, I'm almost thinking that I wonder if there's going to be some kind of religious question that comes up soon, where many people feel like that they have been left out in some way, that their perspective is not honored. I don't know. So let's take this into a realm outside of spirituality. If you are feeling like in life that you have set forward a way of approaching life that is very important to you, it's sacred to you, but someone else is judgmental about that. They are sitting in judgment that's more traditional, perhaps, because the Hierophant is typically a more traditional figure. And if that's making you feel left out, maybe it's a family member, maybe it's actually a good friend that you had thought that you could count on, and you're not, and you can't. You find out that they have more traditional ideas than you thought. You are waiting. You're in a period of waiting to see what comes of this. And it might be waiting for the right conversation. Remember to relax into this, to accept that you are on this journey, accept and relax. And if you need to, ask for help. This is a bit of a puzzler, I have to say. It seems to have very large collective ramifications. And it's possible, Sagittarius, that because you are presiding over the ninth house right now, this house of deep philosophy and how it is that we find truth, and how it is that the individual connects with the collective, which I understand is Pluto and Aquarius. I get that. But there's that Barbo's basket, right? There's that conversation going on between Jupiter and Leo and Pluto in Aquarius, and you are the one who's weighing in on the handle of that basket, in the ninth house of that conversation collectively, not just for yourself. Okay, so let's see what Spirit wants to clarify. Yeah, absolutely. Oh, I love this, guys. Okay. You are moving in the right direction, and not only are you moving in the right direction, you are helping the collective to do so as well. And I would say it's not just the collective at large as some vague kind of idea, but in some way, and something that you have a lot of control over or influence over right now. You are making a real difference. Your actions, your voice, your approach, and your energy is making a difference. And I say that because you have the King of Cups, you have the Six of Coins, the Nine of Coins, the Eight of Wands, the Five of Swords, and the Seven of Wands. So let me talk you through these right now. Let's start with this King of Cups. All right. So there is a desire to have a way of being, a kingdom, if you will. There is a desire to have a kingdom that is ruled from the heart, where reciprocity happens. Reciprocity, and not just this, I'm going to give to, see if I can get this right. I'm going to give to one person and I'm not going to give to the other. That's not working anymore. There's a desire here for the King of Cups to rule from a place of generosity, not just willy-nilly anything goes, okay? Not just will be completely empathic with no boundaries. That's not the King of Cups. Male or female doesn't matter. This is the energy, and the energy is about having that warm heart, not allowing it to be the ruler, but to rule with it weighing in primarily, with it weighing in importantly, with emotion and care and generosity and especially reciprocity. And I'm really thinking that this justice and the star card that came through right before are being clarified. In fact, the star card is being clarified by this reciprocity. The healing in this moment is about that. It's not about having some people as able to receive and others not. So clarifying justice is this King of Cups. And we can say that uh, again, that heart has to temper justice. It can't just be the cold justice. All right, so the choice back and forth and feeling left out in the cold is being modified by the Nine of Coins or the Nine of Pentacles, which I love. So this is the card of independence. And I would say in this particular context, I would say it's a choice. There you go. A choice of individuation. This independence is about, okay, I'm going to make my own way. I'm going to do my own thinking. I'm going to figure out what the good life is for me. And doing so in relation to your nature, to nature itself, where there's this conversation going on. She's speaking to the hawk there. So it's about what's natural, more natural than this kind of enforced hierarchy here. All right. And the Hierophant and the Emperor, this duo that is about like religious authority, and we're going to have some people who make it and some people are going to be left out. That idea, there are messages, strong messages coming through that is like, that's a betrayal. That is not just a self-betrayal with the Five of Swords, but a boundary betrayal of off fighting off others, like saying, no, this is where I stand, and I am taking a stand on it, and I will defend that stance. Boy, we got like a real drama going on here. This really does seem as, boy, it took a turn from that initial, hey, you're in a period of waiting. Oh, you can accept it. You should be a little bit more relaxed. And you can ask for some help. Then we went into all of these major arcana of justice and healing and and ruling from the heart, and not just the cold emperor or hierarchy, and insisting on reciprocity, and now going our own way and setting up our own what's right. All right, so here it is. The outcome is this point of celebration. Whatever this is, this thing that you're waiting on, there is something here that is for celebration. Okay, so let me summarize what I'm getting intuitively from all of this. Excuse me for just one moment because I feel like there's something coming in. Okay, so I am seeing a bird, a bird cage with a bird in it, and the cage is now open. And the bird is at that point of saying, of just recognizing that the cage is open. I'm having a little trouble talking because I'm sorry, I'm in the vision itself. The bird is sitting right in front of that open door and wondering, do I make the flight? Do I step out into the cold and possibly get left alone. I'm in this cage and I have my needs taken care of, even though this life is not my own and I'm dependent. I'm dependent on the generosity of others right now to know how to think, to know how to be, to make my living. And if I step out, I might be out in the cold. But there is also this promise of the good life. Like the Nine of Pentacles is about completing a cycle, and it is a lush cycle. There is plenty provided. She is in good health, in good in good standing, and she is in at one with her own nature. And it's interesting that we see that this bird here, the hawk, has the hood on it. And so the question is, do you fly free? Or do you stay where you're dependent? Only you can know that, but whatever boundary you're laying, you are feeling pretty strongly about it, and that your back is up against a wall. You're seeing it perhaps because of a message that has come in from someone else, or that you're waiting to come in. If this is the waiting card, you're waiting for it to come in. It could have to do with a legal matter and whether you will be free in some way. And it seems as though this is less about the financial aspect, although we did get, I say that, but we did get certainly the Six of Pentacles here, the Six of Coins. So there are some financial cards here for sure. It looks as though you've been left out a little bit in the financial cold as well. So I take that back. But there is also a very strong spiritual component to this, as we saw. Okay. So whatever this is, it is really about your freedom. That is the bottom line. And what you are hoping and moving toward, and it does seem that you are, is the Three of Cups, is this celebration. And by the way, I want to point out that this is not one person alone celebrating. These are three people, three kindred spirits who are all laughing together, and it looks as though they're dancing together and holding their cards up. So there is that future community, the celebration after the difficulty. You're in a period of waiting, but it's coming. All right, so we went a little bit long because that was a surprisingly deep and a little bit puzzling reading, but it came through very clearly in the end. So relax in this time, relax and accept. And if you need help in the waiting, in the time of waiting, ask for that help, whether that's to relieve stress, whether that has to do with money. Things are being resolved and you are moving into a time of celebration. So, sending you so many blessings and a great deal of love. Take care, and I will talk with you soon.